That unsettling whisper in the quiet moments, that nagging feeling that, maybe your own mind is playing tricks on you.
Mm-hmm.
We've all had a flicker of that, haven't we? But what happens when that flicker just, ignites? Becomes this consuming fire of inner turmoil.
Yeah, it's a descent into a really disturbing place, and it's something Edgar Allan Poe captures just brilliantly, I think, in The Telltale Heart.
Right. So today we're plunging into this really chilling story. We've got the original text, of course, and a couple of insightful analyses that you shared to guide us.
Exactly.
Our mission, you could say, is to really dissect the core of it. We want to understand the narrator's paranoia, how it escalates, unpack the symbolism Poe uses, and confront, his desperate claims of sanity versus everything else.
That fixation on the eye, the guilt.
The whole package. Okay, let's really dig in.
Well, the story kicks off with this immediate, really forceful denial, doesn't it? He says, true, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am, but why will you say that I am mad?
Right off the bat. He admits the nervousness, but insists he's not mad. He even tries to spin his heightened senses, hearing things from far away, as proof of clarity.
Which is, it's immediately paradoxical, isn't it? Claiming heightened senses lets him hear sounds from heaven and hell. That's quite a claim.
It's almost a dare. It feels like Poe is immediately signaling, don't trust this guy. Is that a common thing in his work, setting up that unreliability right away?
Oh, definitely. It aligns with this recurring figure in Poe, the super sensitive person who mistakes their, let's say, overstimulated nerves for sharp intellect. It's like a defense mechanism against the very madness they're denying.
He clings to it, right? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them.
Exactly. But as the story goes on, you see how that same sensitivity actually fuels the delusion. It just amps up his anxiety, pushes him toward the terrible act. Makes you think, how easily can we misread our own internal states,
And the logic he uses is just bizarre. He argues, madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded.
Right. His proof of sanity is the meticulous planning of the murder over 7 nights.
He's actually proud of his wisdom, his precaution, his foresight, his dissimulation. It's quite the performance of self-deception.
And the details of those nights are just chilling. Picturing him, creeping in, maybe taking an hour just to open the door, a crack.
An hour?
Yeah. And then that thin ray of light aimed only at the eye, the vulture eye. It's obsessive, ritualistic. He even sort of acknowledges it's irrational, focusing just on the eye, not the man, but he can't stop. What does that tell us about obsession itself?
It's almost darkly funny when he asks, would a madman have been so wise as this?
Yeah.
He's using the how, the careful method, to justify the completely deranged why.
Exactly. Which brings us right to it, doesn't it? The target of all this planning. The old man's eye.
This pale blue eye with a film over it, that's the only reason he gives.
Yeah, and he's very clear. It's crucial. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. I did not want his money. The motive is purely this intense, irrational hatred for one physical feature.
It really makes you think about how fear and hate can just latch onto something arbitrary, something totally irrational.
So unsettling. It shows how paranoia can just inflate tiny details into something monstrous. One of the analyses calls it a psychotic obsession, totally detached from reason.
And the symbolism of the eye, calling it a vulture eye, immediately brings in death, predation.
Right, and wanting to close that eye forever. It sounds like he's trying to extinguish the source of his torment, or maybe judgment. Eyes as windows to the soul, all that. Is Poe twisting that?
Could be. And for 7 nights, he can't do it. Why? Because always the eye was closed.
Which is another layer of the irrationality.
He even says, it was not the old man I felt I had to kill, it was the eye, his evil eye. It just highlights that total disconnect from any sane motive.
Then comes night 8, and there's this sudden burst of confidence, almost arrogance.
He fairly chuckled at the idea of his plan working. It's almost gleeful, which is deeply disturbing. As one essay notes, it sort of speaks to that link between feeling in control and, the potential for extreme acts.
And that's the night it all goes wrong. Or right, from his twisted perspective, the slip-up, the noise.
Yeah, his thumb slips on the lantern fastening. It wakes the old man.
And the old man cries out, "Who's there?" Just pure terror in the dark.
And the narrator's description, it's so cold. He says the old man felt me there and knew that death was standing there.
Yeah.
Like he's just an observer.
It's chillingly detached, and it sets up the climax perfectly. He finally sees the open eye.
The vulture eye.
And immediately he hears it, that sound. A quick, low, soft sound, like the sound of a clock heard through a wall, the heartbeat.
Okay, this is the big question, isn't it? What is that sound? Is it real? Is it the old man's terrified heart?
Or is it the narrator's own heart pounding? Adrenaline? Stress?
Or, as one analysis suggests, is it purely in his head? The paranoia finally blooming into an auditory hallucination.
That ambiguity is so powerful. Because whatever it is, real or imagined, that sound drives him over the edge.
It gets louder and louder. His fear isn't about getting caught for the murder itself anymore. It's about the sound giving him away.
Which is completely ironic, right? His own delusion becomes the thing he fears will expose him.
And that's what pushes him. He rushes in, smothers the old man, until the sound stops.
And even then, in the immediate aftermath, he tries to keep up that facade of sanity. He describes dismembering the body so carefully.
Right, in the tub. And that horrible little aside, a tub had caught all ha-ha.
That ha-ha is jarring, isn't it? It's this crack in his controlled narrative, a glimpse into the real chaos underneath.
It totally contrasts with the wisdom and precaution he was boasting about earlier. One analysis points out how that detail shows his rational control just disintegrating.
Definitely points to a mind that's gone. Then, the knock at the door, 4 a.m.
The police. A neighbor heard a shriek.
And at first, he's cool as a cucumber. My manner had convinced them I was singularly at ease. He feels a light heart.
He makes up a story. He cried out in a dream. The old man's away. He invites them in, lets them search. Total confidence.
Almost unbelievable confidence. He even brings chairs into the bedroom, the scene of the crime.
And sits right over the spot where the body is hidden, upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim.
One source calls that peak arrogance, fueled by his delusion. But you mentioned something interesting earlier. Could it also be subconscious, a desire to be found out?
It's possible, right? Because that's exactly when it starts again.
The sound, the heartbeat, the same low, dull, quick sound.
And his composure just shatters. He starts getting agitated, pacing, talking louder, trying to drown out the sound only he can hear.
He describes himself getting paler, his headache returning, then he foamed and raved. That's language for complete breakdown.
And the police are just chatting calmly, suspecting nothing. Which, of course, he reads totally wrong.
He thinks they know. He thinks they hear it too, and they're just mocking him, enjoying his agony. They're making a mockery of my horror. It's pure paranoia twisting reality.
It's terrifying how that internal anxiety just completely distorts his perception of what's happening outside.
And he just can't take it anymore. The pressure inside is too much. The mask crumbles.
And it all comes pouring out. Yes, I killed him. Pull up the boards and you shall see. I killed him. But why does his heart not stop beating?
Boom, and there it is, the telltale heart. It's its own guilt, isn't it? That's the interpretation that rings most true.
Absolutely. That sound, real or not, becomes this massive symbol of his guilt, hammering away until he confesses. As one analysis says, his own telltale heart betrays him. It's like our conscience just demanding to be heard, even psychologically.
It's such a powerful illustration of internal turmoil manifesting, maybe physically, maybe just perceptually, but leading to ruin either way. And the language Poe uses, dreadfully, vulture, hideous, terror, it just builds that atmosphere of self-destruction.
Yeah, the dark diction is key. And the whole story is just a masterclass in self-deception, isn't it? He tried so hard to rationalize, to prove his sanity, but every word just digs him deeper into madness.
Makes you wonder how well any of us really know ourselves, or our capacity for irrationality.
And that ambiguity about his state before the murder, was he always disturbed? Or did the act and the guilt push him over? Poe leaves that hanging.
Right. And the eye itself, what does it symbolize? Judgment, his own warped view, some inner truth he can't face. It's layered.
All plausible. But the story definitely nails that suffocating feeling of paranoia, being watched, judged, even when it's all internal.
And that comparison one source made about him being like a beast of prey, but with human intelligence, making him this grotesque anomaly that really stuck with me.
Yeah, the idea that only a human could be so calculatingly cruel and then so tormented by it afterwards.
And Poe's techniques. Wow. That first-person perspective is everything. It just throws you right into his distorted mind.
You're trapped with them, aren't you? It ramps up the unease because you know you can't trust the narrator.
Totally. And the story is so tight, so concise, intense. Every word counts towards that total impact, that unity of effect Poe aimed for.
Plus the setting, the closed room, the shutters locked tight, classic Poe, making it feel even more claustrophobic, more psychological.
So wrapping this up, what have we seen? We've got this profoundly unreliable narrator,
Sure.
desperately trying to convince us, maybe himself, that he's sane while descending further into madness.
We've got the destructive power of guilt, symbolized so vividly by that relentless, imagined heartbeat.
Yeah, and just a really unsettling look at a mind completely unraveling under its own darkness.
It's a powerful reminder, I think, of how easily we can deceive ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves to justify the unjustifiable. He thinks he's pulling the strings, but he's just a prisoner of his own head.
Which leaves a final thought maybe for you listening. Could that heartbeat mean something else besides guilt? Or maybe in addition to guilt? What does this story really tell us about how fragile our own grip on reality, on sanity, might actually be?
It definitely lingers, doesn't it? We really encourage you to go back to Poe's story, maybe reread it with some of this in mind. See what layers you find. It's timeless and deeply, deeply unsettling.